The lunch bag feels heavy in my hands as I walk through the glass corridors of his office building. I made his favorite today, chicken katsu sandwich with extra sauce. The way he likes it. My heart always does this little flutter when I surprise him at work. 3 years together and I still get nervous seeing him in his business suits, looking so professional and perfect. I should have called first. I know this now, standing frozen outside his office door, watching through the transparent walls as my world crumbles into pieces. He's sitting across from her. This beautiful woman with long black hair and perfect posture. She's wearing expensive clothes. The kind that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. They're both leaning over his desk, and I can see papers scattered everywhere. Wedding magazines. Venue brochures, color swatches. My breath catches in my throat. There are ring boxes on the desk. Multiple ones. She's holding up photos of flowers, white roses, baby's breath, all the romantic arrangements I used to dream about having at our wedding someday. But here she is, planning it with him instead of me. He's smiling. God, he's smiling so wide, looking at her with this expression I've never seen before. His eyes are bright, animated in a way that makes my chest feel hollow. When was the last time he looked at me like that? When was the last time I made him that happy? She says something and he laughs, really laughs, throwing his head back. The sound cuts through the glass and straight into my heart. I know that laugh. I used to be the one who caused it. My hands start shaking. The lunch bag slips slightly in my grip. They look so natural together. So right. She fits in his world in ways I never could. Everything about her screams success, sophistication, wealth. All the things I'm not. All the things he probably needs in a partner. I watch her point to something in a magazine and he nods eagerly. Wedding venues. They're picking out wedding venues. The realization hits me like physical pain, sharp and sudden. I have to press my hand against the wall to keep from falling. 3 years. 3 years of my life. Thinking we had a future together. Thinking that maybe, despite all our differences, despite me being so ordinary and him being so extraordinary, we could make it work. How stupid was I? I remember last month when he said he was working late again. And the month before that, all those business dinners, all those weekends he was too busy to see me. I thought he was building his career. I was so proud of him, so supportive, but he was building a life with someone else. The lunch bag falls from my hands. The sound echoes in the hallway. Both of them look up. For a moment his eyes meet mine through the glass. I see the exact moment recognition hits him. His face goes pale, his mouth opening slightly. She follows his gaze and turns to look at me too. I can't move, can't breathe, can't think. She's even more beautiful up close. Flawless skin, delicate features, the kind of natural elegance that can't be learned or bought. She looks confused, probably wondering who this ordinary person is, standing in the hallway staring at them. He starts to stand up, starts to move toward the door, but I'm already running. My feet carry me away from his office, away from the elevators, toward the stairwell. I take the steps 2 at a time, my vision blurring with tears I didn't realize had started falling. 12 floors down, my legs shaking with each step. How could I be so blind? How could I not see this coming? All those times he seemed distant. All those conversations that felt forced. All those nights he came home tired and went straight to sleep without really talking to me. I thought it was stress from work. I thought it was temporary. But he was falling in love with someone else. The parking garage air hits me like a slap. I fumble for my car keys, hands trembling so badly I can barely get the door unlocked. My phone is already buzzing, his name flashing on the screen. I decline the call. It buzzes again immediately. And again. I turn the phone off and throw it in the passenger seat. The drive home passes in a blur of tears and traffic lights. Every song on the radio seems designed to torture me. Every couple I see walking on the sidewalk feels like mockery. When did I become so pathetic? When did I start believing that someone like him could actually love someone like me forever? I park outside our apartment. His apartment really, since he pays most of the rent, and sit in the car for a long time. The lunch I made him is still splattered on his office floor, just like my heart is splattered all over my chest. My phone has 17 missed calls when I finally turn it back on. I delete them all without listening. The silence in our apartment feels different now. Not peaceful like it used to be, but empty, dead, like the space itself knows what I saw today, knows what's coming next. I stand in the doorway for a long moment, looking at everything we built together, our furniture mixed with his expensive pieces, my books scattered between his business journals, photos of us on vacation, at family dinners, at the company parties where I always felt so out of place but went anyway, because I loved him. My phone buzzes again, his name on the screen like a knife twist. I just can't hear his voice right now. Can't listen to him try to explain or make excuses or worse, tell me the truth about how he fell in love with someone better. The first photo comes down easy. Us at the beach last summer, both of us sunburned and laughing. I remember thinking that day that I'd never been happier. Looking at it now, I can see it in his eyes. He was already pulling away. Already thinking about her. Probably. Each picture I pack feels like losing him all over again. Our first Christmas together. The day we moved in. My graduation when he was the only one there cheering for me because my family couldn't make it. That one hurts the most because I really thought he cared that day. Really thought I mattered to him. My clothes fit in 2 suitcases. Pathetic, really. 3 years of living with someone and all my stuff barely fills 2 bags. His closet will probably look better without my cheap department store clothes taking up space anyway. The buzzing is constant now. Calls, texts, voicemails. I don't read any of them. What's the point? What could he possibly say that would make this better? That would make me less ordinary, less inadequate, less wrong for his perfect life. In the bathroom, I pack my toiletries around his expensive skincare products. Even our bathroom stuff tells the story. His high-end everything next to my drugstore basics. How did I not see it before? We were never equals in this relationship. I was just fooling myself. The bedroom is the hardest part. Our bed where he held me every night, where he whispered that he loved me, where I felt safe and wanted and enough. All lies, apparently. Or maybe they were true once, before he met her, before he realized what he could have instead. I pull out the small velvet box from my nightstand drawer. The promise ring he gave me last year. Someday, he'd said when he put it on my finger. When the timing is right, when everything falls into place. I thought he meant when his business was more stable, when we had more money saved. But he meant when he found the right person to marry. And that person isn't me. The ring goes in my suitcase. I don't know why I'm taking it. Maybe to remind myself not to be this stupid again. My phone finally stops buzzing around midnight. 17 missed calls. 43 unread texts. I delete everything without looking. The letter is harder to write than packing was. What do you say to someone who's been your whole world but who's chosen someone else? How do you let them go gracefully when your heart is screaming? I saw everything today. The magazines, the venues, the rings. She's beautiful and perfect for you in ways I never was. I should have seen this coming. You deserve someone who fits in your world, someone who can give you the life you want. I'm sorry I wasn't enough, but I'm happy you found someone who is. Don't look for me. Please just be happy with her. I sign it with just my name. Not love or always yours or any of the things I want to write. Those words belong to her now. The letter goes on the kitchen table next to the keys to his apartment. My hands are shaking as I write his name on the envelope. I look around one more time. 3 years of my life in this space. 3 years of believing in us. In forever, in love that was apparently one-sided. The woman in his office probably never doubted she deserved him. Probably never felt grateful that someone like him would choose someone like her, because she's his equal. His match. And I'm not. The coastal town is 4 hours away. Far enough that he won't accidentally run into me. Small enough that I can disappear completely. I found the job online, waitressing at a little cafe by the water. It's not much, but it's a place where nobody knows me as his inadequate girlfriend, where I can just be nobody for a while. The apartment above the cafe is tiny, nothing like what I'm used to with him, but the rent is cheap and it comes furnished. The landlady doesn't ask too many questions when I pay 3 months up front in cash. I turn off my phone completely on the drive. In the rearview mirror, the city lights fade away, taking everything I thought was my future with them. I don't know what he's doing right now, But I can imagine, maybe that's the worst part, knowing him well enough to picture exactly how he's falling apart, even though I can't be there to see it. It's been 2 weeks since I left. 2 weeks of waking up in this tiny apartment above the cafe. 2 weeks of serving coffee to strangers. 2 weeks of pretending my heart isn't completely shattered. The work keeps my hands busy, but my mind never stops thinking about him. Mrs. Chen, the cafe owner, doesn't ask many questions. She hired me the same day I arrived, probably because I looked desperate enough to work for cheap. She's kind in that quiet way some people are, bringing me extra soup when she thinks I'm not eating enough, letting me work double shifts when I can't stand being alone with my thoughts. "You running from someone?" she asked once. But when I didn't answer, she just nodded and handed me more tables to clean. The other waitress, Sarah, is chatty enough for both of us. She fills the silence with stories about her boyfriend, her plans for college, her dreams of traveling. Sometimes I catch myself almost telling her about him, about how he likes his coffee black but puts sugar in his tea, about how he hums when he's concentrating, about how his smile used to make everything okay. But then I remember the woman in his office, and the words die in my throat. I wonder if they've set a date yet, if she's moved into our apartments, his apartments, if she's sleeping in our bed using the shower where he used to sing off-key in the mornings, if she's learned that he likes his eggs over easy and that he gets cranky when he doesn't eat breakfast. The coastal town is exactly what I needed, small enough that everyone knows everyone. But nobody knows me. I'm just the quiet girl who works at Chen's cafe, who keeps to herself and always looks a little sad. They probably think I'm recovering from a bad breakup, which isn't exactly wrong. My phone stays off most of the time. I only turn it on once a week to check if my mom has called, and even then I see his name filling up my missed calls list. Dozens of them at first, then fewer as the weeks go by. I delete them all without listening. The hardest part is the dreams. Every night I dream we're back in our apartment. Sometimes we're cooking dinner together and he's telling me about his day. Sometimes we're watching movies on the couch and I'm falling asleep against his shoulder. Sometimes we're in bed and he's holding me close, whispering that everything is okay. Then I wake up alone in this strange bed, in this strange room, and remember why I left. Mrs. Chen catches me crying over the espresso machine one morning. "Bad dreams?" she asks, handing me a tissue. I nod, not trusting my voice. "Time helps," she says simply. "Not as much as people say it does, but it helps some." I want to ask her how she knows. What heartbreak taught her to speak so certainly about healing? But some pain is too private to share with strangers, even kind ones. On the third week, Sarah mentions seeing a man in a suit asking around town, showing people a photo asking if they've seen someone. My blood goes cold, but she's already moved on to complaining about the lunch rush. It's not him. It can't be him. He's too busy planning his new life to come looking for his old one. But that night I dream about him standing outside the cafe, looking up at my window. In the dream I want to run down to him, want to throw myself into his arms and pretend the woman in his office was just a nightmare. But even in dreams I know better now. I know I was never enough to make him choose me over someone perfect. The fourth week brings rain that doesn't stop for days. The cafe is quieter, just a few regulars nursing their coffee and watching the gray ocean through steamed windows. I'm wiping down tables when Mrs. Chen approaches me with the phone in her hand. "Someone asking about you," she says carefully. My heart stops. "What did you tell them?" "Nothing yet. But they're persistent. Say they just want to know if you're okay." I shake my head. "Please. I can't." She studies my face for a long moment, then speaks into the phone. "Sorry, never heard of her." She hangs up and goes back to the register without another word. That night I lie awake listening to the rain against my window and wonder if he's really looking for me or if it's just wishful thinking. Wonder if he feels guilty about how things ended, if he wants closure, if he's worried about me. Or maybe his perfect fiancée suggested he make sure his ex is okay before they start their new life together. Maybe it's just another item on their wedding planning checklist. I turn over and pull the blanket over my head, trying to block out the sound of rain and the voice in my head that keeps saying his name. The bell above the cafe door chimes, and I look up from the coffee machine to see a woman I recognize but have never met. She's tall, elegant, with the same dark hair and sharp eyes as him. My heart stopped. His sister. She scans the cafe until her eyes land on me. And her expression shifts from searching to something that might be anger, or disappointment, or both. She walks straight to my counter, her heels clicking against the old wooden floors. "You're him," she says. It's not a question. I nod, my throat suddenly too tight to speak. "Do you have any idea what you've done to him?" The words hit me like a physical blow. Mrs. Chen looks up from the register, sensing tension, but I shake my head slightly to let her know it's okay. Even though nothing about this feels okay. Can we sit?" I manage to ask. She chooses a table in the corner, away from the few other customers. I bring 2 cups of coffee with shaking hands and sit across from her. She looks like him around the eyes, but where his gaze was always warm, hers is ice cold. "He's been looking for you for 2 months, she starts, and something in my chest clenches. 2 months of barely eating, barely sleeping, hiring private investigators, driving around the city every night hoping to catch a glimpse of you." I stare down at my coffee. "He doesn't need to." "Don't." Her voice cuts through mine. "Don't you dare tell me what my brother needs. Do you know what I found him doing last week? Sitting in his apartment in the dark, surrounded by wedding magazines and venue brochures, crying like I haven't seen him cry since our father died." Wedding magazines. The image of him and that beautiful woman flashes through my mind again. "I saw them," I whisper. "I saw him with her, planning everything. I saw how happy he was." She stares at me like I've lost my mind. "Her? You mean Rebecca? His business partner? The woman in his office? The one he was choosing flowers with, looking at venues with, the ring boxes?" Oh my God. The words come out as a breath. She leans back in her chair, and for the first time since she walked in, she doesn't look angry. She looks stunned. You think he was planning a wedding with Rebecca?" I nod, confused by her reaction. "You idiots," she says, but there's no malice in it anymore. Just disbelief. "He was planning a wedding with Rebecca, because she's an event planner. He hired her to help him plan his proposal to you." The words don't make sense at first. They bounce around in my head like puzzle pieces that don't fit together. "What? Every single thing you saw, the flowers, the venues, the rings, all of it was for you. He'd been planning it for months. The most elaborate romantic proposal you could imagine, because he wanted it to be perfect for you." The cafe suddenly feels like it's spinning. I grip the edge of the table to steady myself. But he looked so happy with her. Because he was excited. He was finally ready to propose to the person he's been in love with for 3 years. Rebecca was helping him choose between different ring settings, because he couldn't decide which one you'd like better. I can't breathe. The room is too small, too hot, too bright. "No, that's not." I saw them. They looked so perfect together. They're business partners and friends. Nothing more. She's been married to her college girlfriend for 5 years. His sister reaches across the table and grabs my hand. "He was going to propose on your anniversary next month. He had this whole plan, dinner at the restaurant where you had your first date, then a walk through the park where you had your first kiss. He'd been carrying the ring around for weeks, waiting for everything to be perfect." The coffee cup slips from my other hand and shatters on the floor. Mrs. Chen hurries over with a towel, but I barely notice. The world is tilting sideways and nothing makes sense anymore. "I ruined everything," I whisper. "You broke his heart," she says simply. "When he came home and found your letter, found you gone, I've never seen him like that. He took a leave of absence from work. He's lost 15 pounds. He won't talk to anyone except to ask if they've heard from you." Tears are streaming down my face now, and I can't stop them. I was so sure that he'd found someone better. Someone who deserved him. Better than the person he was planning to spend his life with. Better than the person he talks about constantly, who he lights up around, who makes him laugh harder than anyone else ever has. She shakes her head. "There is no one better than you in his eyes. There never was." I'm sobbing now, ugly crying right here in the middle of the cafe. Mrs. Chen appears with a box of tissues and quietly starts cleaning up the broken cup. "Where is he now?" I ask through my tears. "Probably sitting in that dark apartment staring at the engagement ring he picked out for you, wondering if you're ever coming home." She stands up, her expression softer now but still serious. The question is, are you? I'm already reaching for my phone, hands shaking as I turn it on for the first time in weeks. Dozens of missed calls, hundreds of unread messages. The most recent one is from 3 days ago. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm sorry. Please just tell me you're safe. I love you. I'll always love you. I have to go, I tell his sister, already standing up. She nods. He's at home. He's always at home now, waiting for you to come back. I'm halfway to the door when I turn around. Thank you. For finding me. For telling me. Don't thank me yet, she says. Fix this. Fix him. He deserves better than what you put him through. But he wants you anyway. Don't waste that. The drive back to the city feels like drowning in reverse. Every mile closer to him, I can breathe a little more. But the pressure in my chest grows heavier. My hands shake on the steering wheel. 4 hours of highway blur past while my mind races with everything I need to say, everything I need to explain, everything I destroyed with my stupid assumptions. His sister gave me the spare key. The same key I left on the kitchen table with that horrible letter 2 months ago. It feels wrong in my hand now, like I don't deserve to use it anymore. Like I gave up the right to walk into his space the moment I ran away. The elevator ride to the 7th floor takes forever. My reflection in the metal doors shows a mess. Red eyes, pale skin, hair I haven't properly cared for in weeks. I look like what I am. Someone who's been living in pieces, trying to survive without the most important part of myself. The hallway is quiet. Too quiet. It's Tuesday afternoon and normally he'd be at work, but his sister said he took leave, said he hasn't been himself since I left. The guilt sits heavy in my stomach like a stone. I stand outside our door, his door, for a long moment. What if he doesn't want to see me? What if the damage is too deep to fix? What if these 2 months apart have made him realize he's better off without someone who runs away instead of talking? The key turns easily. The apartment is dark, curtains drawn against the afternoon sun. It smells different, stale, like no one's been cooking or cleaning or living properly. Like sadness has settled into the walls and made itself at home. Hello? I call softly. No answer. I step inside, and my heart breaks all over again. The living room is destroyed, but not in an angry way. In a desperate way. Wedding magazines are scattered across every surface, the same ones I saw in his office that day. Venue brochures cover the coffee table. Ring catalogs are stacked on the couch. Flower arrangements printed from websites are taped to the walls. And in the middle of it all, sitting on the floor with his back against the couch, is him. He looks up when he hears my footsteps, and I have to grab the door frame to keep from falling. He's so thin. His cheekbones are sharp in his gaunt face, his eyes sunken and red-rimmed. His hair is longer than I've ever seen it, messy and unkempt. He's wearing the same shirt he had on the day I left, wrinkled and stained. You're not real, he whispers, voice hoarse like he's been screaming or crying or both. I'm real. I take a step closer, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. I'm here. He stares at me for a long moment, then laughs. It's the most broken sound I've ever heard. Now you come back. After I've gone crazy looking for you. After I've torn this city apart trying to find you. I sink to my knees in front of him, close enough to touch but not daring to. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. You left me. His voice cracks on the words. I was planning our future and you left me. The wedding magazines make sense now. All of it makes sense now, but too late. I saw you with Rebecca. You thought what? That I'd been lying to you for 3 years? That everything between us was fake? He picks up a ring catalog and throws it across the room. You thought so little of me that you believed I'd cheat on you? I thought you realized you deserved better. The words come out small and pathetic. She's so beautiful, so perfect. She fits in your world in ways I never could. He stares at me like I've lost my mind. Better? There's no one better than you. There never was. He's crying now, tears streaming down his face. Do you know what these past 2 months have been like? Do you know how many nights I've driven around looking for you? How many private investigators I've hired? How many times I've called your phone just to hear your voicemail? I'm sobbing too, ugly and broken. I was so scared. I've always been scared that someday you'd wake up and see me for what I really am. Just ordinary. Nothing special. Nothing worth keeping. You're everything worth keeping. He reaches out like he wants to touch me, then pulls his hand back. You're everything I've ever wanted. Everything I've ever loved. I saw the happiness on your face when you were with her. You looked so excited, so alive. More alive than you'd looked with me in months. Because I was planning the most important moment of my life. He grabs a small velvet box from between the couch cushions and holds it up. Because I was finally going to ask the person I love more than anything to marry me. The ring box. The same one I saw on his desk that day. My heart stops. This was supposed to be perfect, he continues, his voice breaking. I had everything planned. Dinner at Romano's, where we had our first date. Then the park where you kissed me for the first time. I was going to get down on one knee under the same tree and tell you that you're my everything. That I can't imagine a life without you. I reach for the box with shaking hands. Inside is the most beautiful ring I've ever seen. Simple, elegant, exactly what I would have chosen if he'd asked me. Of course he knew. He always knew me better than I knew myself. I've been carrying it for weeks, he whispers. Every day hoping you'd come home so I could give it to you. And instead you disappeared. I'm home now, I say through my tears. I'm here now. He looks at me with such pain in his eyes. Are you? Or are you going to run again the moment things get hard? I don't have an answer that will fix this. Don't have words that will erase 2 months of agony. All I have is the truth. I love you, I whisper. I never stopped loving you. Even when I thought you'd chosen someone else. Even when I thought I wasn't enough. I never stopped. Then why did you leave me? Because I was terrified. Because I've never believed I deserved you. Because running felt safer than staying and watching you realize I wasn't worth fighting for. He closes his eyes, fresh tears spilling over. You're everything worth fighting for. You always were. Healing doesn't happen overnight. I learned this the hard way during our first week back together, when every conversation feels like walking through a minefield, when every touch carries the weight of all the hurt between us. He doesn't trust me not to run again. I can see it in his eyes when I go to the store, in the way his jaw tightens when my phone rings, in how he stays awake until I fall asleep first. The fear that I'll disappear again lives in both of us now, making everything fragile and careful. We should talk to someone, he says one morning over coffee that tastes too bitter. A professional. I don't know how to fix this by myself. I nod, even though the thought terrifies me. Opening up our wounds to a stranger, admitting how broken we are, feels too vulnerable. But we're drowning separately even while sitting in the same room. Then something has to change. Dr. Martinez has kind eyes and a patient voice. She doesn't judge when I explain about running away. Doesn't look shocked when he describes the 2 months of hell I put him through. She just listens and asks questions that cut straight to the bone. What were you really afraid of? She asks me during our third session. That he'd leave me. The answer comes automatically, but she shakes her head. Deeper than that. What were you afraid would happen if he left? I stare at my hands, twisted together in my lap. He's sitting beside me on the couch, close enough to touch, but we haven't figured out how to do that easily yet. That I'd disappear. That without him, I'd be nothing. And you? She turns to him. What scares you most about what happened? That it could happen again. His voice is quiet, broken. That no matter what I do or say, he'll never really believe that I choose him. That someday I'll come home and find another letter on the table. The sessions are brutal. We excavate years of insecurities, unspoken fears, assumptions we made about each other that were completely wrong. I learned that my need to be grateful all the time made him feel like I saw our relationship as charity. He learns that his success intimidated me, made me feel like I had to earn my place in his life every single day. I wrote the proposal speech 17 times, he tells me one evening, pulling out a notebook filled with his handwriting. I wanted it to be perfect because you deserved perfect. He reads it to me, voice shaking on words about forever and coming home and how loving me is the easiest thing he's ever done. I cry through most of it, thinking about how wrong I got everything. I don't need perfect, I tell him. I just needed to know you really wanted me. How could you not know that? He looks genuinely confused. I've wanted you since the day we met. I've never stopped wanting you. Because you're you, I say helplessly. You're successful and smart and gorgeous and you could have anyone. Anyone at all. And you're just the person who makes me laugh when I've had the worst day. The person who remembers that I like extra sugar in my tea, but not my coffee. The person who stays up late helping me practice presentations, even when you're tired. The person who makes everything better just by existing. Learning to believe him is the hardest part. Learning to trust that when he says he loves me, he means it completely and without reservation. Learning that I don't have to earn love or prove I deserve it, that real love doesn't work that way. Some nights are harder than others. I wake up in a panic, convinced I'll find his side of the bed empty, convinced the reconciliation was all a dream. He holds me through these episodes, whispering reassurances until my breathing evens out. "I'm not going anywhere," becomes his mantra. "I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here." Other nights, he's the one who wakes up afraid, reaches for me in the dark to make sure I'm still there, still real, still choosing to stay. Those nights, I'm the one who whispers promises into the darkness. "I'm here. I'm not running. I'm staying too." We have good days and bad days. Good days when we laugh over breakfast and everything feels normal again. Bad days when a comment hits wrong, or a silence stretches too long and we both remember how close we came to losing each other forever. Dr. Martinez teaches us to fight better, to say what we mean instead of assuming the other person can read our minds. She teaches us that love isn't enough if you don't have trust, and trust has to be rebuilt brick by brick after someone shatters it. Relationships aren't about never hurting each other, she says. They're about what you do after the hurt happens. How you heal together. Slowly, carefully, we start to heal. He shows me the apartment he looked at during our separation, a smaller place across town that he never signed the lease for, because he couldn't imagine living anywhere but where we'd been happy together. I tell him about the coastal town, about Miss Chen's kindness, about how I worked double shifts just to avoid thinking about him. "I drove there once," he admits. "About 3 weeks after you left. I sat in the parking lot outside the cafe for 2 hours. But I couldn't work up the courage to go in. I would have come home with you that day if you had. I was afraid you'd tell me you were happier without me." We're both crying again, but it's different now. Cleaner somehow. Like washing out a wound so it can heal properly. "I was never happier," I whisper. "I was surviving." There's a difference. He pulls me closer on the couch and for the first time in months, touching him doesn't feel complicated. It just feels like coming home. "I know we're not fixed yet," he says against my hair. "I know we have more work to do. But we're doing it together this time." Together, he agrees. No more running. No more assumptions. Just us. Figuring it out as we go. 6 months later, I wake up to the smell of coffee and the sound of him humming in the kitchen. It's Sunday morning, soft gray light filtering through curtains we picked out together during one of our rebuilding shopping trips. Everything in the apartment feels intentional now, chosen by both of us instead of just accepted. He's standing at the stove in his pajama pants and one of my old college t-shirts that somehow ended up in his drawer. His hair is messy from sleep, and there's a small smile on his face as he flips pancakes. The sight makes my heart do that flutter thing. It's been doing again lately. The good flutter, not the anxious one. "Morning," I say, wrapping my arms around his waist from behind. He leans back into me, solid and warm and real. "Morning. Sleep okay?" "Perfect." And I mean it. The nightmares are rare now. The panic attacks even rarer. Dr. Martinez says healing isn't linear, but we're making progress. Real, measurable progress. He turns in my arms and his eyes have that soft look they get when he's happy. Really happy, not just pretending for my sake. "I have something for you. It's not my birthday. Don't need a reason." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. Not the engagement ring box. Something smaller. Open it. Inside is a simple silver band with an inscription I have to squint to read. "No more running." "It's a promise ring," he says, suddenly nervous. "Not an engagement ring. Not yet. Just a promise that we're in this together. That we talk instead of assume. That we fight for each other instead of running away." I slip it onto my finger, right hand this time. It fits perfectly, like everything else he gives me. "I love it. I love you. I love you too." He kisses me, soft and sweet, tasting like maple syrup and second chances. We eat breakfast on the couch, legs tangled together, catching up on weekend plans that don't involve therapy or deep conversations about our feelings. Normal couple things like grocery shopping and visiting his sister and maybe going to that new movie I've been wanting to see. Rebecca's engagement party is next weekend, he mentions casually, fork halfway to his mouth. My stomach tightens automatically, then relaxes. Old habits die hard, but I'm learning. That's nice. How's the wedding planning going? Good, I think. She's stressed about the venue, but her fiancé keeps telling her it'll be perfect no matter what. He pauses, studying my face. You okay with us going? We don't have to if it's weird. It's not weird, and surprisingly it's not. Rebecca and I had coffee last month. A awkward but necessary conversation, where she apologized for not realizing what her working relationship with him looked like from the outside. She's sweet, funny, nothing like the threat I built her up to be in my head. I want to go. I want to meet her fiancé properly. Yeah? He looks relieved. Good. She's been asking about you. We finish breakfast in comfortable silence. The kind that used to scare me because I thought it meant he was getting bored. Now I know it just means we're both content. Both present. Both choosing to be here together. I have something to tell you too, I say, setting down my empty plate. He tenses slightly, another old habit we're both working on, then forces himself to relax. Good. Something or bad something. Good something. I got the promotion. His face lights up like I've given him the best news in the world. The supervisor position? Really? Really? Mrs. Patterson called yesterday while you were at your appointment. I start Monday. He pulls me into his arms, spinning me around the living room until we're both dizzy and laughing. I'm so proud of you. So fucking proud. Language. I tease, but I'm grinning too. This calls for celebration. Dinner at Romano's? Our place. I agree. It doesn't hurt to go there anymore. Doesn't feel like a museum of what we used to be. Now it just feels like ours. Later, while he's in the shower, I find myself looking at the photo we took last week, both of us smiling at his sister's birthday party, relaxed and happy and real. I almost deleted all our old photos during those first awful weeks back together. Couldn't bear to look at how naive and unprepared we used to be. But Dr. Martinez convinced us to keep them. Those people loved each other too, she said. They were doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. Now I'm glad we kept them. Glad we have proof that we were happy before, that we can be happy again, that love doesn't disappear just because people make mistakes. My phone buzzes with a text from my mom. Dinner next Sunday? Your father wants to try that new recipe he saw on TV. Family dinners used to terrify me because he'd come along and I'd spend the whole time worried he was judging my chaotic relatives, comparing them to his polished family. Now I just text back, we'll be there. Tell Dad we're bringing dessert. We. Such a simple word, but it means everything. He emerges from the bathroom in a cloud of steam, towel around his waist, hair dripping. Still the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But now I know he's mine in the ways that matter. Not because I trapped him or convinced him to settle, but because he chooses me every day, the same way I choose him. What are you thinking about? He asks, catching me staring. Just how different everything is now. Different how? Better, I say simply. Stronger. More real. He sits beside me on the bed, takes my hand with the promise ring. We almost lost this, but we didn't. But we almost did. I know what he means. Sometimes the weight of how close we came to ending still takes my breath away. If his sister hadn't found me, if I hadn't had the courage to come back, if he'd given up looking, we'd be strangers now, living separate lives, never knowing what we threw away. Second chances, I say, squeezing his fingers. Second chances, he agrees, and maybe that's what makes this so precious. Knowing how easily it could have been lost, how hard we had to fight to get it back, how much work it takes every day to keep it. This love isn't naive anymore. It's battle-tested, scar-marked, stronger for having been broken and rebuilt. I want to marry you someday, he says quietly. Not now, not until we're both ready, but someday. Someday sounds perfect.